October 2023. Bacolod City, Philippines. 2:47 in the morning. Gabriel Reyes hasn't slept in 3 days. He's sitting at his desk, staring at a computer screen that's showing him something impossible. Something he's waited 10 years to see. Something he's also spent 10 years praying he'd never have to see. His hands won't stop shaking. On the screen, his daughter's face. Andrea, 18 years old. Pageant crown still fresh on her head. Smiling at the camera from Dubai, October 2013. Completely unaware that she has 4 days left to live. The luggage arrived 3 days ago. His sister Sophia, the one who invited Andrea to Dubai, the one who watched her disappear, finally left her husband after years of abuse and came back to the Philippines, carrying one battered suitcase. Andrea's suitcase. "I kept her things," Sophia whispered, unable to meet his eyes. "I couldn't throw them away." For 3 days, Gabriel couldn't open it, just stared at it, sitting in Andrea's room, the room he'd kept untouched for a decade, like a shrine to a ghost. Tonight, he finally unzipped it. Clothes folded neatly, exactly how Andrea always packed. Her makeup bag. The heels she wore at the Linnae sang Bacolod Pageant, and at the bottom, beneath everything else, her journal. He flipped to the last page. 10 words, written in Andrea's handwriting. iCloud login. Andrea Rees 1995 at icloud.com/dahil_sayo_mama. His breath stopped. Dahil Sayo. Because of you. Her mother's favorite song. The song Elena used to sing before cancer took her. The song Andrea performed at every pageant. The song that was playing in Gabriel's head the day he buried an empty coffin. She'd made it her password. His daughter, organized, meticulous, always 3 steps ahead, had written down her iCloud login, just in case. As if some part of her knew she might need someone to find this someday. It took him 20 minutes to work up the courage to type it in. When the account opened, photos loaded slowly on his ancient internet connection. Hundreds of them. Andrea at the Dubai Mall, holding shopping bags, grinning. Andrea in the desert on a camel, sunset behind her, crown still on her head because she wore it everywhere. Andrea in her gala gown, backstage at some charity event, looking like she was about to conquer the world, every image a knife. Then he saw it. Last video in the camera roll. October 24th, 2013, 11:42 p.m., 53 seconds long. Thumbnail showed a blurry living room, marble floors, expensive furniture, a man's silhouette. Gabriel's cursor hovered over it. Something in his gut told him not to click, told him that whatever was on this video, it would destroy what was left of him, that some things once seen can't be unseen. He clicked anyway. The video opened. A living room. Massive. Marble floors reflecting chandelier light. His sister Sophia in the corner, face bloody, lips split open, hands raised like she's trying to protect herself from something. A man screaming. Arabic words Gabriel didn't understand, but the rage in them was universal. Then Andrea's voice, clear, defiant, terrified, but trying not to show it. "Stop, I'm filming this. If you touch her again, the whole world will see what you really are." The camera shook. Andrea's hand wasn't steady. The man turned toward the camera, face twisted with fury, eyes bloodshot, and he grabbed something off a shelf. Gold. Heavy. A decorative bar, one of those useless status symbols rich people keep around. He threw it. Not at Andrea, at Sophia, but he missed. The gold bar flew through the air, spinning, catching light. It hit Andrea's temple with a sound Gabriel will hear for the rest of his life. Crack. She dropped instantly, The phone clattered to the floor, still recording. 11 more seconds. Sophia screaming. The man's face, shocked, frozen. Blood spreading across white marble like spilled wine. Andrea's hand twitching once, twice, then going still. Screen fading to black. Video ended. Gabriel sat there staring at the black screen, unable to move, unable to breathe, unable to process that he just watched his daughter die. 10 years late. The video had been there the entire time. Floating in the cloud. He says backed up automatically to Apple's servers because Andrea had her phone set to save everything. Evidence waiting. Truth waiting. For 10 years. Welcome to True Crime Story 247, where we don't just tell you what happened, we show you why it matters. If you're here, you already know something was wrong with this case. A pageant winner vanishes in Dubai. No body found. Case closed in 48 hours by authorities who didn't ask enough questions. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens when someone powerful wants something buried. Subscribe to this channel, because what I'm about to tell you proves that sometimes your worst fear isn't that someone you love is dead. It's that they died while someone you trusted stood there and watched. It's that the evidence existed all along, waiting in a cloud server, even while you spent a decade drowning in grief. It's that justice was always possible. It just came too late. Andrea Reyes was 18 years old. She just won Linnae Sang Bacolod. She had a future, a real one. Talent scouts from Manila calling, television offers coming in. She didn't need Dubai, didn't need her aunt's connections. She was already building an empire. But she went anyway, 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. She promised her father she'd come home. She kept that promise. Just not the way either of them expected. Let me take you back to where this started. Back to 2013. Back to when Andrea Reyes thought winning a crown would launch her career. Back to before she knew that some invitations aren't opportunities, they're traps. To understand how Andrea Reyes ended up dead on a marble floor in Dubai, you need to understand who she was. And here's the thing that makes this case different from every other true crime story you've heard. Andrea wasn't desperate, wasn't running from poverty, wasn't using pageants as an escape route from a life she couldn't stand. She was building an empire, and that's exactly what made her vulnerable. 2009, Bacolod City, Philippines. Andrea, age 14. Gabriel Reyes worked as a mid-level manager at a sugar refinery. Not wealthy, not poor. Solidly middle class in a city where that meant something. Andrea had a college fund. Had an iPhone 4S, which in 2011 was a flex. Attended St. John's Institute, a decent private school where the kids came from families with options. Her mother, Elena, had died 2 years earlier. Cervical cancer that spread fast and killed faster. Andrea was 7 when it happened. Old enough to remember. Young enough for it to shape everything that came after. Elena had been a singer. Local legend in Negros Occidental. Performed at weddings, fiestas, provincial variety shows. Had the kind of voice that made old women cry and young couples hold each other tighter. She'd passed that voice to Andrea, along with her face, her stage presence, her absolute refusal to be invisible. After Elena died, Gabriel became both parents, worked double shifts when he could. Made sure Andrea had everything she needed and most of what she wanted. Drove her to voice lessons. Sat through every school performance. Never missed a recital. He was terrified of failing her. Terrified she'd grow up feeling like she'd lost both parents, one to cancer, one to grief. So he showed up, every single time. And Andrea? She didn't just survive her mother's death. She honored it. 2011. Mascara Festival. Andrea, age 16. The barangay beauty pageant wasn't her idea. Her best friend Rika signed them both up as a joke. Said Andrea needed to do something other than sing in her bedroom and post covers on YouTube. Andrea almost didn't go. Then she thought, what would Mama do? Elena never turned down a stage, so Andrea showed up, wore a dress she'd borrowed, did her own makeup, walked out in front of 200 people and sang Dahil sa iyo, her mother's signature song. By the second verse, people were crying. By the end, the judges were already writing her name down. She won by a margin so wide it wasn't even close. Afterward, one of the judges, an older woman who'd known Elena, grabbed Andrea's hand and said, "Your mother is so proud of you." Andrea went home and cried for 3 hours. Then she entered another pageant. 2012. The Rise. City-level competitions. Regional showcases. Andrea started winning everything she entered. Not because she was the prettiest, though she was stunning. Not because she had the best training. Half these girls had professional coaches. She won because when Andrea Reyes walked on stage, you couldn't look away. She had it. That indefinable thing judges look for and can't teach. Presence. Charisma. The ability to make a room full of strangers feel like she was singing directly to them. Her Instagram started growing. This was 2012. Instagram had only launched in 2010. It was still new, still organic. People followed people they actually cared about. Andrea posted behind-the-scenes content, rehearsal videos, makeup tutorials, honest captions about missing her mom, about being nervous, about what it felt like to walk in her mother's footsteps. By mid-2012, 15,000 followers. By early 2013, 50,000. She wasn't an influencer. That word didn't even exist yet. She was just a girl with a voice, sharing her journey, and people connected with that. Twitter blew up too. 30,000 followers. Entertainment columnists from Manila started writing about her. Provincial charm meeting metropolitan potential. The next big thing from Negros Occidental? Casting agents started calling Gabriel's phone. Offers for variety show appearances, supporting roles in teleseries, music video features. Gabriel turned most of them down. Andrea was still in school. Still 17. He wanted her to have a foundation before the industry chewed her up. But he could see it coming. His daughter was going to be famous. The only question was how famous. May 2013. Linay sang Bacolod. Andrea, age 18. The Panaad sa Negros Festival, the biggest cultural event in the region. Linay sang Bacolod, Lady of Bacolod, was the crown everyone wanted. 23 candidates, all beautiful, all talented, all hungry. Andrea wasn't the favorite going in. That was Maricel Santos, daughter of a city councilman who'd been training with a Manila pageant coach for 6 months. But when the talent portion came, Andrea walked on stage in a simple terno gown, white, traditional, elegant, and sang Dahil sa iyo, a cappella. No backing track, no safety net. Just her voice and 2,000 people holding their breath. She didn't just win, she destroyed the competition. The judges didn't even deliberate. Just handed her the crown. Prize package, 100,000 pesos cash. Full scholarship to University of Saint La Salle. 1-year title, regional celebrity status. But the real prize was what came next. 3 days after she won, a casting director from ABS-CBN flew to Bacolod specifically to meet her, took her to lunch, talked about opportunities, said the network was looking for fresh faces for an upcoming teleserie about a singing competition. "You're exactly what we need," he said. "Provincial roots, real talent, a story people will connect with." He gave her his card, told her to call him after she finished her Linné obligations. 1 week later, a talent manager from Manila called, offered to represent her, said he could get her auditions for Binibining Pilipinas 2014. Maybe even Miss Universe Philippines if she was willing to wait. Andrea's head was spinning. 6 months ago, she was singing in her bedroom. Now she had agents calling, networks interested, a legitimate pathway to the kind of career her mother had dreamed of. Gabriel watched all of this happening and felt two things simultaneously. Pride, because his daughter was extraordinary and the world was finally seeing it. And terror, because he knew what happened to young, beautiful, talented girls in this industry. He'd read the stories, heard the rumors, knew about the producers who made promises they never kept, the managers who took advantage, the men with power who saw girls like Andrea as objects, not people. But Andrea wasn't naive. She was smart, careful. She had her father watching her back. What could possibly go wrong? September 2013. The invitation. Sophia called on a Tuesday night. Gabriel's younger sister, 5 years his junior. Hadn't seen her in person since 2001. And when she'd married Khalid Al-Mansouri in a Dubai ceremony Gabriel could barely afford to attend. They talked maybe 3 times a year. Birthdays, holidays. Quick calls where Sophia said everything was fine and nothing was true. But this call was different. Sophia's voice had an edge to it, urgent, almost manic. "I want to see Andrea," she said. "I miss her. I miss home. Bring her to Dubai just for a visit, 2 weeks." Gabriel hesitated. "Sophia, she's busy. Binibining Pilipinas preliminaries are in November. She's training." "Exactly," Sophia said. "This could help. Khalid has connections in entertainment, producers, investors, people who could accelerate her career." "She doesn't need acceleration. She's doing fine." "Fine isn't enough, Kuya. You know how competitive this industry is. She needs every advantage." Something in Sophia's voice made Gabriel's stomach turn. "What's really going on?" he asked. Silence. Long enough that Gabriel almost asked again. Then Sophia said, "Nothing, I want to see my niece. I want to spend time with family. Is that so strange?" It wasn't strange, it was just off. But before Gabriel could push back, Andrea walked into the room, saw him on the phone, and mouthed, "Who is it?" "Tata Sophia," he said. Andrea's face lit up. She loved Sophia, remembered her as the cool aunt who sent birthday money, who called on FaceTime with stories about Dubai, who'd always treated Andrea like an adult instead of a kid. "Can I talk to her?" Andrea asked. Gabriel handed over the phone. He watched Andrea's expression shift as Sophia repeated the invitation, watched excitement replace caution. Nir watched his daughter's eyes go wide as Sophia talked about Dubai. The glamour, the opportunity, the chance to network with international contacts. When Andrea hung up, she was practically vibrating. "Papa, she wants me to visit. Just 2 weeks. She said Khalid knows people in entertainment who could help, and I've never been out of the country. This could be amazing for my resume." Gabriel wanted to say no. Wanted to lock Andrea in her room until Binibining Pilipinas was over, until she was safely famous, until the danger he couldn't name had passed. But Andrea was 18, legally an adult, and she was looking at him with those eyes, Elena's eyes, full of hope and hunger and the absolute certainty that this was her chance. 2 weeks, Gabriel said finally. "You call me every day. You don't go anywhere alone. And if anything feels wrong, you come home immediately." Andrea hugged him. "Nothing's going to go wrong, Papa. It's just Dubai. It's just Tita Sophia." Gabriel held her tighter than he meant to, because something in his gut was screaming that this was a mistake. He just didn't know how big a mistake until it was too late. Now let me tell you about Sophia, because understanding why Andrea died means understanding why Sophia invited her, and understanding That means going back to 1998. Sofia Reyes leaves the Philippines. She was 25. Nursing degree from University of the Philippines, Manila. Top of her class. Could have worked anywhere. Manila, Cebu, abroad. She chose Dubai. Not because she was desperate, because she was ambitious. This was the late 90s, the height of the OFW boom. Filipinos flooding the Gulf for opportunities that didn't exist back home. But Sofia wasn't running from poverty. She had options. She just wanted more. Took a job as a hotel receptionist at a 5-star resort. It was beneath her qualifications, but she had a plan. Work the desk while getting her nursing license transferred to UAE credentials. Then transition to hospital work. Better pay. Better life. It took 3 years. By 2001, she was working as a charge nurse at a private hospital in Dubai. Good salary, nice apartment. Independence she'd never had in Manila, where family obligations and cultural expectations followed her everywhere. Then she met Khalid Al-Mansouri. The meeting. He came into the hospital with a business associate who'd had a heart episode during a meeting. Minor. Stress-related. But Khalid stayed while the man was examined, pacing the waiting room, making phone calls, and radiating the kind of controlled anxiety that came from having too much money and too little patience. Sofia was the one who updated him. Calm. Professional. Explained what was happening in terms he could understand. He looked at her like he'd never seen a woman speak with that much authority. 3 days later, he came back. No sick associate, just him. Asked if she wanted to have coffee. She said no. Hospital policy. He came back the next day and the next. On the 5th visit, she said yes. The courtship. Khalid was 40 years old, 15 years older than Sofia. Wealthy from family money and smart investments, gold trading, oil services, real estate. He was handsome in that polished way rich men are, well-dressed, well-spoken, knew how to listen, knew how to make Sofia feel like the most fascinating person in the room. He took her to expensive restaurants, sent flowers to the hospital, asked about her family, her dreams, her goals. And here's the thing. Sofia wasn't gold digging. She had her own money, her own career, her own life. She liked him because he seemed to respect that, seemed to value her intelligence, seemed different from the Emirati men she'd heard horror stories about, the ones who treated Filipina women as disposable. 6 months of dating. Then he proposed. Traditional. Down on one knee. Diamond ring. Promises of partnership and respect and a life they'd build together. She said yes. They married in 2001. Gabriel flew out for the wedding. Met Khalid for the first time. Didn't like him, something about the way Khalid looked at Sofia like she was a possession he'd acquired, but kept his mouth shut. Sofia was an adult. She'd made her choice, and the first 2 years were good. Sofia kept working at the hospital. Khalid ran his business. They lived in a nice apartment in Jumeirah. Equal partnership. Equal respect. Then 2003 happened. The shift. Khalid suggested Sofia quit nursing. You don't need to work, he said. I provide enough. You should focus on home. On us. Sofia resisted. She loved nursing. Loved the purpose it gave her. Loved having her own identity beyond Khalid's wife. But he insisted. Gently at first. Then persistently. My wife doesn't need to work. It reflects poorly on me, like I can't support my family. Cultural expectations. Family pressure from his side. Subtle suggestions that working made her seem desperate, unfeminine, inappropriate. She held out for 6 months. Then he bought them a villa in Arabian Ranches, 5 bedrooms, private pool, in golf course views. the kind of house Sophia had dreamed about as a kid in Manila. "This is our life now," Khalid said. "Don't you want to enjoy it?" She quit in 2004, and that's when everything changed. The isolation. Without work, Sophia lost her daily routine, lost her colleagues, lost the hospital staff who'd become her friends, lost her purpose. Khalid's control increased. Not violently, not explosively, just incrementally. "You don't need to go out today. Stay home. Rest. Those women you met at the mall, they're not our class. You should be careful who you associate with. Why do you want to visit Manila? Your family can visit us here, when the timing is right." But the timing was never right. Years passed. Sophia's world shrank. Villa. Shopping when Khalid approved. Eat dinners with his business associates, where she smiled and stayed quiet. She suggested returning to nursing in 2012. That's when the bruises started. Not public. Never where anyone could see. But enough to make the message clear. She belonged to him. Her job was to be his wife. Nothing else. By 2013, Sophia was a prisoner, well-fed, well-clothed, living in luxury, completely trapped. The invitation to Andrea. Khalid suggested it in September 2013. "Invite your niece, the pageant winner. Let her visit." Sophia was surprised. Khalid had never cared about her family before, had actively discouraged her from maintaining connections. "Why?" she asked. "Because you seem depressed," he said. "Maybe seeing family will help. Plus she's young, beautiful. It would be nice to have fresh energy around." That last part made Sophia's skin crawl. But she was desperate for connection, desperate for a reminder that the world existed beyond this villa. So she called Gabriel. She told herself Andrea's presence would make Khalid behave, would remind him to be decent, would give Sophia 2 weeks of feeling human again. She was wrong, because Khalid didn't want family connection. He wanted something else entirely. And by the time Sophia understood what, it was already too late. October 12th, 2013, 6:47 p.m. Bacolod Sile International Airport. Gabriel parked outside the terminal, helped Andrea pull her suitcase from the trunk. She was wearing her Linné Sang Bacolod crown. Of course she was. She wore it everywhere. Grocery stores, church, family dinners. People loved it. Stopped her for photos, asked for autographs. "You sure you have everything?" Gabriel asked for the third time. Andrea laughed. "Papa, yes. Passport, ticket, phone charger, Tita Sophia's address. I'm good." He pulled her into a hug, held on longer than he meant to. "Call me when you land," he said, "and every day after. I don't care what time it is there." "I will. And if anything feels wrong, Papa." She pulled back, looked him in the eye. "It's 2 weeks. I'm visiting my aunt. Nothing's going to happen." But Gabriel's gut was screaming. "Something feels wrong about this," he said. Andrea's expression softened. "You always worry. I'll be fine, I promise." She kissed his cheek, grabbed her suitcase, started walking toward the terminal. Gabriel watched her go. Watched her wave one more time before disappearing through security. Crown on her head, smile on her face, rolling toward a future she'd been promised. But he didn't know that was the last time he'd see his daughter alive. October 13th, 2013, 4:22 a.m. Dubai International Airport. Andrea called Gabriel from the baggage claim. "I landed. I'm okay. Tita Sophia's picking me up." Relief flooded through him. "Good. Be safe. Call me later." "I will. Love you, Papa." "Love you too, Anak." She hung up and saw Sophia waving from the arrivals area. Her aunt looked different, thinner than Andrea remembered, dark circles under her eyes that makeup couldn't quite hide. but her smile was genuine. They hugged. Sophia held on tight. "I've missed you so much," Sophia whispered. "I've missed you too, Tita." Khalid was waiting in the car outside, a black Mercedes. Expensive, but not flashy. He got out when he saw them, extended his hand to Andrea. "Welcome to Dubai," he said. His English was perfect. His smile was polite. His eyes lingered just a fraction too long. Andrea shook his hand and felt something cold slide down her spine. Arabian Ranches, Mirador Community, 5:48 a.m. The villa was beautiful. Spanish-style architecture, 5 bedrooms, private pool in the back, views of the golf course. The kind of house Andrea had only seen in magazines. But as they pulled through the gates, which closed automatically behind them with a heavy clang, Andrea noticed something. Security cameras everywhere, pointing at the driveway, the front door, the pool area. "For safety," Khalid said, noticing her looking. "This is an expensive neighborhood." He showed her to the guest room. Huge, private bathroom, balcony overlooking the golf course. "Rest," he said. "You must be tired from the flight." After he left, Andrea unpacked and hung up her gala gown. She'd need it for the charity event on October 24th. Set her phone to charge, lay down on the bed. She should have felt excited. This was Dubai. This was opportunity. But something felt wrong. The way Khalid had looked at her. The way Sophia's hands shook when she poured tea. The way the villa felt less like a home and more like a very expensive cage. Andrea locked her bedroom door before she fell asleep. October 13th to 19th. The first week. The days followed a pattern. Mornings. Dubai Mall shopping trips. Burj Al Arab brunches. Desert safari photo opportunities. Everything curated for Instagram. Everything perfect on the surface. Andrea posted photos daily. Her followers ate it up, and comments flooded in. "OMG, you're living the dream. Dubai looks amazing on you. Can't wait to see what's next." But the nights were different. The first night, Andrea heard them arguing. Khalid's voice sharp and cruel, Sophia's muffled crying. A crash. Something breaking. Then silence. The next morning, Sophia wore long sleeves despite the heat. "Are you okay?" Andrea asked when Khalid left for work. "Fine," Sophia said too quickly. "Just clumsy, dropped a glass." But Andrea saw the bruise on her wrist when her sleeve rode up. The questions. Khalid started asking questions over dinner. "Tell me about pageants, the swimsuit competition. Do you find it empowering or objectifying?" Andrea answered carefully. "It's part of the competition. You prepare for it like any other segment. But you must get a lot of attention. These men must approach you constantly. Sometimes. Do you have a boyfriend?" The question landed wrong. Too personal, too interested. "No," Andrea said. "Really? A beautiful girl like you? I find that hard to believe." Sophia's fork clattered against her plate. "Khalid, that's inappropriate." He smiled. "I'm just making conversation." But his eyes stayed on Andrea. October 20th. The warning. Sophia pulled Andrea aside when Khalid left for a business meeting. They were in the kitchen. Morning light coming through the windows. Security cameras watching. "I need to tell you something," Sophia said. Andrea waited. Sophia's eyes flicked to the camera in the corner. She shook her head. "Nothing, just be careful at your gala. Come straight home after. Don't talk to men alone. Don't stay out late." "Tita, are you okay?" Sophia's hands were shaking. "I'm fine." "You're not fine. What's going on?" "Nothing. I just want you to be safe." Andrea grabbed her aunt's hand, saw the fingerprint bruises on her forearm. "Did he do this to you?" Sophia pulled away. I have to start dinner. Khalid gets angry when dinner's late. She walked away before Andrea could push further. That night, Andrea wedged a chair under her door handle before she went to sleep. October 24th, 2013. The Gala. The charity event was at a hotel in downtown Dubai. Filipino community fundraiser. About 200 people, local celebrities, expat families. Andrea's first international appearance. She wore the turno gown she'd brought from Bacolod. Traditional, elegant. Her mother's favorite style. The performance went perfectly. She sang Dahil Sa'yo to a standing ovation and walked the runway with the kind of confidence that made photographers fight for position. Collected business cards from talent managers, producers, event coordinators. Everyone wanted to know, what's next for Andrea Reyes? She was floating. This trip, despite the tension at the villa, was doing exactly what Sophia promised, raising her profile, creating opportunities. She called Gabriel from the taxi on the way back. Papa, it was perfect. Everyone loved me. I got so many contacts. This is going to open so many doors. I'm proud of you, Anak. I'll tell you everything when I get home. I love you. I love you too. She hung up and smiled at her reflection in the taxi window. 2 more days. Then she'd fly home. Back to Bacolod. Back to Binibining Pilipinas prep. Back to her real life. The taxi pulled up to the villa gates at 11:27 p.m. New security let her through. She walked to the house with her gown bag over her arm, heels in her hand, still smiling. She opened the front door. 11:31 p.m. The living room. Khalid was drunk. Not tipsy, not buzzed. Fully violently drunk. Andrea could smell the alcohol from the doorway, could see the empty bottles on the coffee table. Sophia was in the corner. Lip bleeding, eye swelling shut. Hands raised, trying to protect her face. Khalid was screaming in Arabic. Words Andrea couldn't understand, but tone was universal. Rage. He picked up a vase and threw it. It shattered against the wall next to Sophia's head. Andrea should have run, should have called security, should have done anything other than what she did. But she just spent the night being celebrated, being told she was powerful, being treated like someone who mattered. And she was 18, and she was her mother's daughter, and Elena had never been able to watch someone suffer in silence. Andrea pulled out her iPhone 5, opened the camera, hit record. Stop. Her voice cut through the chaos. Khalid turned, his eyes focused on her, on the phone in her hand. I'm filming this, Andrea said. Her voice shook, but she kept recording. If you touch her again, the whole world will see what you really are. For 1 second, everything stopped. Khalid's face shifted. From rage to shock to calculation. Then he laughed. You dare threaten me? His English was slurred but clear. In my house, you stupid little girl, you think anyone cares what you film? He grabbed the nearest object. A gold bar. One of the decorative pieces he kept throughout the villa. Symbols of wealth, status, power. He threw it. Not at Andrea, at Sophia. But he was drunk. His aim was off. The gold bar flew through the air, spinning, catching light from the chandelier. It hit Andrea's temple with a sound like a branch snapping. Crack. She dropped. The iPhone clattered to the marble floor, still recording. The video captured 11 more seconds. Khalid's face shifting from rage to horror. Sophia screaming, scrambling toward Andrea's body. Blood spreading across white marble like spilled wine. Andrea's hand twitching once, twice, then going still. The screen fading to black. But the video had already uploaded. Automatic backup. iCloud. Andrea had set her phone to save everything, evidence floating somewhere in the cloud, waiting, For 10 years. 11:43 p.m. After. Khalid stood frozen, staring at Andrea's body. Sophia was screaming, hands covered in blood, shaking Andrea's shoulders. They're trying to wake her. Andrea, wake up. Please wake up. But Andrea's eyes were open, fixed, seeing nothing. Khalid grabbed the iPhone, smashed it against the floor, again. Screen shattered, device destroyed. He didn't know about iCloud, didn't know the video was already gone, already saved, already waiting to condemn him. He only knew body, evidence, police. He grabbed Sophia by the hair, pulled her away from Andrea's body. Clean this up, he said. Now. Sophia was sobbing. We need to call someone. She needs a doctor. He slapped her, hard enough that she fell. She's dead, and if you want to stay alive, you'll help me fix this. Subscribe if that makes your blood boil. Because Andrea Reyes died doing what she thought was right. Died protecting someone she loved. It's died believing that evidence and truth and justice actually mattered. She was wrong about that last part. Evidence didn't protect her, but 10 years later, it destroyed the man who killed her. How they covered it up. How they buried her. How Sophia stayed silent. How Gabriel spent a decade searching for answers that were hidden in a cloud server the entire time. That's what comes next. And trust me, you need to hear how this ends. October 24th, 2013. 11:43 p.m. Khalid stood over Andrea's body, blood spreading across white marble. Her eyes open but seeing nothing. iPhone on the floor, screen shattered from where he'd smashed it. Sophia was screaming, hands covered in blood, shaking Andrea's shoulders. Wake up. Please wake up. Andrea, please. Khalid grabbed Sophia by the hair, yanked her away from the body. Shut up, he hissed. Shay, shut up and listen. Sophia's eyes were wild. We need to call someone, an ambulance, the police. He slapped her hard enough that she fell. She's dead, Khalid said, voice flat, matter of fact. And if you want to stay alive, you're going to help me fix this. Sophia stared at him. At this man she'd married. This man who'd just killed her niece. This man who was now looking at Andrea's body like it was a problem to be solved instead of a life he'd just ended. I can't, Sophia whispered. Khalid crouched down, got in her face. His breath reeked of whiskey. You can, you will, because if you don't, I'll tell the police you did this, that you and Andrea fought, that you pushed her, that I tried to stop you. No one will believe that, won't they? Khalid smiled, cold, calculating. Jealous aunt, beautiful niece. I have security footage of you two alone in this house all week. I have money, lawyers, connections. You have nothing. He stood up, looked at Andrea's body. We have maybe 2 hours before someone notices she's not answering her phone, before her father calls, before anyone asks questions. He walked to the garage, came back with plastic sheeting, duct tape, cleaning supplies. We're going to wrap her up, he said. We're going to clean this floor until it shines. We're going to put her in my truck, and we're going to bury her where no one will ever find her. Sophia was shaking. I can't, please, I can't. Then I'll kill you too. Simple, direct, not a threat, a statement of fact. Sophia looked at Andrea's body one more time. Then she started helping. October 25th, 2013, 2:17 a.m. The desert. They drove 40 minutes into the desert. It was beyond Arabian ranches, beyond the golf courses and shopping centers and construction zones, to empty land, sand and darkness and nothing else. Khalid had chosen the spot carefully, area slated for development, new villa community breaking ground in 6 months. Whatever they buried tonight would be under concrete and rebar within a year. They dug with shovels Khalid kept in his truck. Sophia's hands blistered, bled. She kept digging. When the hole was deep enough, they lowered Andrea in, still wrapped in plastic sheeting, still wearing the gown she'd performed in hours earlier. Sophia wanted to say something, a prayer, an apology, anything. But Khalid was already filling in the dirt. By 4:30 a.m., Andrea Reyes was gone. Just sand. Just emptiness. Just a secret that would stay buried for 10 years. October 25th, 2013. 5 a.m. The villa. We're back at the house. Khalid made Sophia clean. Every surface Andrea had touched. Every doorknob, every bathroom fixture. Every trace of her existence scrubbed away. He'd already disposed of her bloody clothes, burned them in a metal barrel behind the garage, thrown the ashes in different dumpsters across the city. The iPhone, smashed beyond recognition, went into separate trash bins. Screen in one, battery in another, circuit board in a third. He was methodical, careful, covering every angle. What he didn't know, the video was already gone, already uploaded, already waiting in Apple servers for someone to find it. But Sophia kept Andrea's luggage. Khalid wanted to throw it away, burn it like the clothes. But Sophia grabbed it, held it against her chest. "I'll get rid of it later," she said, "just not now." Khalid stared at her, and calculating whether this was worth a fight. Finally, "Fine, but it stays hidden. If anyone comes looking, that suitcase doesn't exist." Sophia nodded. She took it to a storage room in the back of the villa, shoved it behind old furniture and boxes of Khalid's business files, told herself she'd send it to Gabriel someday, when enough time had passed, when it was safe. 10 years later, she'd finally keep that promise. October 26th, 2013. 9:23 a.m. The call. Gabriel's phone rang, Sophia's name on the screen. He answered, expecting to hear Andrea's voice, expecting her to tell him about the gala, about her plans for the day. Instead, sobbing, hysterical, barely coherent. "Kuya," Sophia could barely get the word out. "Kuya, she's gone." Gabriel's stomach dropped. "What do you mean gone? Where is she?" "I don't know. She went out last night after the gala, said she was meeting someone. Maybe one of the producers she met. I don't know. She didn't come home." Gabriel's world tilted. "What do you mean she didn't come home?" "We waited all night. I called her phone. It's off. I checked with security. They saw her leave around midnight, but never saw her come back." Khalid called the police. "They're searching. But Dubai is so big, and she didn't tell us where she was going, and..." "Put Khalid on the phone. He's at the police station filing a report. I'm here in case she comes back. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have gone with her. I should have..." "I'm getting on a plane," Gabriel said. "I'll be there tomorrow." He hung up, booked the first flight to Dubai, started searching for a daughter who was already dead. October 27th, 2013, in Dubai International Airport. Gabriel landed 37 hours after Andrea disappeared. Sophia picked him up, eyes red, face hollow. They drove to the villa in silence. Gabriel saw Andrea's room, bed made, clothes still in the closet, makeup bag on the bathroom counter. Everything normal, everything undisturbed. Except she was gone. "Walk me through it," Gabriel said. "Everything." Sophia repeated the lie Khalid had scripted. Andrea came home from the gala around midnight, seemed excited, said she was meeting a producer for late drinks, left before they could stop her. "Which producer?" Gabriel asked. She didn't say. "Show me her phone records." "Her phone is off. We can't access them without her." "Then show me the security footage." Sophia hesitated. Khalid already gave it to police. I want to see it. It's at the station. Gabriel stared at his sister. Something was wrong? Something in her voice? The way she wouldn't meet his eyes? But grief was clouding his judgment. He needed to find Andrea. Everything else could wait. October 27th to November 10th, 2013. The search. Gabriel spent 2 weeks searching, filed reports with Dubai police, Philippine embassy, consular services, walked the streets showing Andrea's photo to strangers, taxi drivers, hotel staff, restaurant workers. Have you seen this girl? 18? Pageant crown. Probably with someone older, please. No one had seen her. He called every hospital, every clinic, every police precinct. Nothing. The Dubai police investigated. But their conclusion came fast. Young Filipina disappeared. Happened more often than anyone wanted to admit. Probably met the wrong person, or probably got trafficked. Probably left the country before anyone noticed. No body, no witnesses, no evidence of foul play. Case closed. November 10th, 2013. Gabriel begged them to keep looking. Offered money he didn't have. Promised anything if they'd just search harder. But the case was cold before it started. On November 12th, Gabriel flew back to Bacolod, alone. November 2013. The empty room. Gabriel couldn't bring himself to change anything in Andrea's room. Her Linné sang Bacolod sash still hung on the wall. Photos of her wearing the crown covered every surface. Her clothes still in the closet. Her makeup still on the dresser. Like she'd just stepped out. Like she'd walk back in any moment. He kept her phone contract active, paid every month, just in case she called. 5 years, and he kept that number live for 5 years before finally accepting she was never going to use it. 2014. The first year. The sugar refinery closed in March. Economic downturn, foreign competition. Gabriel lost his job after 23 years. He took odd jobs, security guard, delivery driver, whatever paid enough to keep the lights on. But he couldn't focus, couldn't function. Would zone out mid-shift thinking about Andrea, about where she was, if she was alive, if she was suffering. He hired a private investigator, used money from his severance package. The investigator worked the case for 3 months, found nothing. Gabriel joined Facebook groups for missing persons, posted Andrea's photo everywhere. Missing person forums, expat groups, Filipino communities in the Gulf. Thousands of people saw her face. No one had answers. 2015 to 2016. March of grief without end. Someone suggested grief counseling. Gabriel went to 3 sessions before quitting. The counselor kept talking about acceptance, about moving forward, about letting go. How do you let go of someone when you don't know if they're alive or dead? How do you accept what makes no sense? He tried a support group for parents of missing children, but everyone else had answers. Their kids died in accidents, overdoses, murders. They had bodies, had graves, had closure. Gabriel had nothing. He started drinking. Not heavily. Just enough to sleep without seeing Andrea's face. Just enough to get through her birthday without screaming. Friends stopped asking how he was doing, stopped bringing it up, moved on with their lives. Gabriel couldn't move. Couldn't go forward, couldn't go back. Just stuck in October 2013. Forever. In 2017 to 2018. Rock bottom. His health deteriorated. High blood pressure. Type 2 diabetes. Stress eating, stress drinking. Stress destroying him from the inside. He nearly lost the house. Fell behind on mortgage payments. Friends pooled money to help. Small donations, community fundraisers. For Gabriel Reyes, father of Andrea Reyes, missing since 2013. Andrea's case became a local legend. The pageant winner who vanished in Dubai. Unsolved mystery. Urban legend. People whispered theories. Maybe she was trafficked. Maybe she ran away. Maybe she's still alive somewhere, too ashamed to come home. Gabriel heard every theory, believed none of them. He knew his daughter. She wouldn't run away, wouldn't disappear without a word. Something happened to her. He just didn't know what. 2019 to 2020. Hollow years. Gabriel stopped searching actively. That's not because he gave up, because there was nowhere left to look. He worked. Came home, sat in Andrea's room, looked at her photos, talked to her picture like she could hear him. I'm still looking, Anak. I haven't given up. I'll never give up. But years of grief were wearing him down, carving him hollow. People stopped mentioning Andrea, stopped asking questions. The case was old news, ancient history. Everyone had moved on, except Gabriel. 2021 to 2023. Sophia's return. Sophia left Khalid in March 2023. After 12 years of abuse, after countless beatings, after being a prisoner in her own home. The divorce was quiet. Financial settlement. She got enough to live on. He kept everything else. She returned to the Philippines in June 2023, called Gabriel from the airport. I'm home, she said. I have something for you. They met at a cafe in Bacolod. Sophia looked like a ghost, thin, haunted, aged 20 years and 10. She slid a battered suitcase across the table. I kept her things, Sophia whispered. I couldn't throw them away. They belong to you now. Gabriel stared at the suitcase. Andrea's suitcase. The one she'd packed for Dubai. Why now? He asked. Because I couldn't carry it anymore. Sophia stood to leave. Wait, Gabriel said. Do you know what happened to her? Sophia's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. Then she walked away before Gabriel could ask what she meant. October 20 to 23. The discovery. Gabriel brought the suitcase home, set it in Andrea's room. For 3 days he couldn't open it. Finally, on the fourth night, he unzipped it. Clothes, makeup, heels, journal. He opened the journal. Flipped to the last page. 10 words written in Andrea's handwriting. iCloud login, Andrea Rees 1995 at icloud.com/dahilsayo_mama. His hands started shaking. Andrea had written down her password, left it like a message. Like she knew someone might need it someday. He logged in at 2:47 a.m. The account opened, photos loaded, hundreds of them. Then the last video, October 24th, 2013. 53 seconds. He pressed play and watched his daughter die. Gabriel didn't sleep that night, didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't call anyone. Just watched the video again and again and again. By sunrise, 47 times. Each viewing revealing new details. The exact moment Andrea realized she was in danger. The split second where Khalid's throw went wrong. Sophia's face as Andrea hit the floor. The moment life left his daughter's eyes. By noon, he called the National Bureau of Investigation. I know what happened to my daughter, he said, and I have proof. Gabriel spent 10 years not knowing. 10 years wondering if Andrea ran away, if she was kidnapped, if she was trafficked, if she was alive somewhere, too scared to come home. 10 years of hope mixed with horror. And then he watched her die. A decade late. On a video that had been floating in the cloud the entire time. Waiting. Just waiting for someone to find the password. If you've come this far, you need to see how this ends. Subscribe. because what happened next proves that some evidence refuses to stay buried no matter how deep you bury the body. October 20 to 23, NBI Manila headquarters. Special Agent Maria Santos watched the video 3 times before speaking. "This is authenticated?" she asked. The forensic tech nodded. He timestamped October 24th, 2013, 11:42 p.m. Geotagged to Arabian Ranches, Dubai. Metadata intact. No signs of tampering. This is original footage from an iPhone 5. Gabriel sat across from them. Hadn't slept in 4 days. Eyes bloodshot. Hands shaking. "Can you arrest him?" Gabriel asked. "It's not that simple," Agent Santos said. "This happened in UAE. Different jurisdiction. We'll need to coordinate with Interpol, Dubai authorities. This could take 10 years wasn't enough?" Gabriel's voice cracked. "How much longer do I have to wait?" Agent Santos looked at the video frozen on her screen. Andrea's face, terrified but defiant. "I'll make some calls," she said. October 2023. Interpol Red Notice. The investigation moved faster than anyone expected. Interpol reviewed the video, confirmed authenticity, then issued a red notice for Khalid al-Mansouri, wanted for manslaughter, concealment of death, destruction of evidence. Dubai police, embarrassed that they'd closed the case so quickly in 2013, reopened the investigation with full force. Security footage from Arabian Ranches, October 2013. Camera logs showing Andrea entering the villa at 11:27 p.m., never leaving. Khalid's truck exiting at 1:43 a.m., returning at 4:52 a.m. Phone records showing no calls from Andrea after 11:30 p.m., despite Sophia claiming Andrea left to meet someone. Financial records showing Khalid purchased cleaning supplies at 6 a.m. on October 25th. Industrial strength bleach, plastic sheeting, duct tape. The evidence piled up, all pointing to one conclusion. Andrea Reyes died in that villa, and Khalid al-Mansouri covered it up. November 2023. The arrest. Khalid was arrested at Dubai International Airport on November 8, 2023, attempting to board a flight to Morocco. One-way ticket, cash purchase, 2 suitcases, and a fake passport. He saw the police coming, tried to run. They tackled him in the middle of the terminal, cuffed him while hundreds of travelers watched. He was detained, held without bail. Faced with video evidence he thought he'd destroyed 10 years ago. Initial denial. "I don't know what you're talking about. This is a mistake." Then, "It was an accident. I was drunk. I didn't mean to hurt her." Then, "She threatened me. I was defending myself." Then, "I want my lawyer." November 2023, Sophia's arrest. Sophia was arrested in Bacolod the same day. Accessory after the fact. Concealment of death. Conspiracy. Gabriel was there when they took her. Mikis watched his sister, the woman who'd watched his daughter die, get handcuffed in front of neighbors who'd known them their whole lives. She didn't resist, didn't fight, just cried. "I'm sorry," she said to Gabriel. "I'm so sorry." He said nothing, just watched her get loaded into the police car. December 2023. The search. Finding Andrea's remains was harder than finding her killers. 10 years of construction. The desert around Arabian Ranches had been completely transformed. New villa communities, shopping centers, roads, parks. But Khalid cooperated. Facing the death penalty under UAE law, he negotiated, offered to show them where he'd buried her in exchange for life imprisonment instead of execution. Dubai authorities agreed. On December 3, 2023, Khalid led a forensic team to a luxury townhouse development. high-end properties, owned swimming pools, manicured lawns. There, he said, pointing to a specific villa. Unit 47. We buried her before the foundation was poured. The excavation took 3 days. Forensic team carefully removing concrete, digging through layers of earth, sifting every handful of dirt. Gabriel was there, watching, waiting. December 6th, 2023, 2:17 p.m. They found bones, partially decomposed, wrapped in deteriorated plastic sheeting. Scraps of fabric, turno gown, traditional embroidery still visible. DNA testing took 48 hours. Result: Andrea Reyes, 99.9% match. Gabriel watched them carefully collect his daughter's remains, piece by piece, bone by bone. First time he'd cried since watching the video, not from fresh grief, from relief. Finally, after 10 years, he could bury her, really bury her, with a body, with closure. January to April 2024, at the trial, Khalid. UAE court. 4 months of testimony, video played on opening day. Courtroom silent except for Andrea's voice. "Stop, I'm filming this." Then the crack. Then silence. Khalid's defense argued accident, said he was drunk, said he threw the gold bar at Sophia, not Andrea, said it was manslaughter, not murder. Prosecution agreed. Manslaughter. But added, followed by concealment, by burial, by destroying evidence, by letting a father search for 10 years while his daughter rotted in the desert. Forensic experts testified about the burial, the cleaning, the methodical cover-up. Phone records showed Khalid never called for help, never reported Andrea's death, just buried her and went to work the next day. Character witnesses testified about Khalid's control over Sophia, the abuse, the isolation, the violence. Gabriel testified on day 47, told the court about Andrea, about her talent, her dreams, about the 10 years he spent searching for her while Khalid played golf and attended business meetings and lived his life. "He didn't just kill my daughter," Gabriel said. "He killed me too. He killed my future. He killed every birthday, every Christmas, every moment I could have had with her. He didn't just bury her in the desert. He buried my entire life." The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Verdict: guilty, manslaughter, concealment of death, destruction of evidence, April 2024. The sentencing. Under UAE law, the victim's family has a say in sentencing. They can demand execution, qisas, or accept blood money dia in exchange for a reduced sentence. Gabriel was called to make his statement. He stood in front of Khalid, looked him in the eye. "I could ask for your death," Gabriel said. "Under your law, I have that right. You took my daughter. I could take your life." Khalid stared straight ahead. No emotion. "But I'm not asking for that," Gabriel continued, "because death is too easy. Death means you stop suffering, and I want you to suffer." His voice was steady, cold, final. "I want you to spend the rest of your life in prison. I want you to wake up every morning knowing you destroyed my family, knowing you killed an 18-year-old girl who was trying to protect someone, knowing you spent 10 years lying while her father cried himself to sleep every night." Pause. "Death is mercy. I'm not giving you mercy." The judge nodded. Sentence: 25 years. Dubai Central Prison. No possibility of parole. Khalid al-Mansouri was 58 years old. He'd be 83 if he survived his sentence. He showed no emotion, just stood when ordered, walked out when told. Gabriel watched him leave, felt nothing, no satisfaction, no relief, just emptiness where his daughter used to be. May 2024. The trial, Sophia, separate trial. Philippines, different charges. Accessory after the fact. concealment of death, obstruction of justice. Sophia's defense team argued domestic violence, showed medical records of injuries, hospital visits, documented abuse spanning 12 years, psychological evaluation, battered woman syndrome, chronic PTSD, coercive control. She was a victim, her lawyer argued, trapped, terrified. She didn't choose to stay silent, she was forced to. Prosecution acknowledged the abuse but countered, she watched her niece die, helped bury the body, lied to Gabriel's face for 10 years. Let him suffer while she knew the truth. She made choices, the prosecutor said. Understandable choices, maybe, but choices nonetheless. Gabriel was called to testify. Could have destroyed her. Could have demanded maximum penalty. Could have made her pay for every year of torture she'd put him through. Instead, my sister was a prisoner, Gabriel said. His voice quiet, measured. Khalid controlled her money, her passport, her freedom. I saw the bruises in 2013. I should have asked more questions, should have seen the signs. Pause. She should have told me the truth. Should have saved Andrea. But I understand why she was afraid. I understand why she stayed silent. His voice broke. Andrea wouldn't want me to destroy what's left of our family. She died trying to protect Sophia. I can't dishonor that by demanding my sister's destruction. Another pause. But I can't forgive her either. Not yet. Maybe not ever. The judge considered. Verdict, guilty, accessory after the fact. Sentence, 5 years, suspended probation, community service, cannot leave Philippines. Sophia was released the same day. She tried to approach Gabriel outside the courthouse. He turned away before she could speak. January 2024, the real burial, Greenwood Cemetery, Bacolod City, same cemetery where Elena was buried, plot next to her mother. Together, finally. The funeral was huge, hundreds of people. Linnae sang Bacolod organization, pageant community, friends from school, teachers, fans who'd followed her on Instagram 10 years ago, everyone who'd mourned her in 2013. Mourning again. Differently. Before, they mourned mystery. Now, they mourned truth. The casket wasn't empty this time. Andrea's remains inside. DNA confirmed. Finally home. Gabriel stood at the grave. Held her Linnae sang Bacolod sash. The one he'd kept on her bedroom wall for 10 years, folded it carefully, placed it on the casket. You tried to protect someone, he said. Voice steady. That's who you were. That's who you'll always be. Pause. I'm sorry it took me so long to find you. March 2024. The Foundation, Andrea Reyes Foundation, registered nonprofit, mission, protecting Filipino women working abroad. Services, legal assistance for abuse victims, emergency shelter and repatriation, crisis hotline, advocacy for better OFW protections, funded by community donations, pageant organization support, local businesses, people who remembered Andrea, people who wanted to make sure her death meant something. First year. Helped 247 women escape abusive situations. Each had provided emergency flights home, legal support, trauma counseling. Andrea's photograph hangs in the office, not her pageant photo, a candid shot from Dubai, day before she died, smiling at the camera, eyes bright, unaware. Plaque below. She tried to protect someone she loved. We continue her work. Gabriel visits every morning, looks at her face, remembers her voice, not happy, not healed, but purposeful. Today, 2025. Khalid Al-Mansouri is in Dubai Central Prison, cell block D, serving year 2 of 25. Sophia lives in Bacolod, works at the Andrea Reyes Foundation, unpaid. Part of her community service, part of her penance. She and Gabriel don't speak often, but sometimes, on Andrea's birthday, they visit the grave together. Stand on opposite sides. Don't look at each other. Don't talk. Just two people destroyed by the same violence, connected by the same loss. Brother who lost his daughter, sister who couldn't save her, united by grief, by guilt, by the faintest hope that someday, somehow, they might find forgiveness. But not today, not yet, maybe never. And Andrea? She's in the ground next to her mother, crown beside her, sash folded on her chest, finally at peace. She would have been 28 now, would have competed in Binibining Pilipinas, probably won, probably made it to Miss Universe, probably been on TV singing her mother's songs. Instead, she's a foundation, a reform movement, a story that changed laws. She tried to protect someone she loved, and in doing so, she protected thousands of women who came after. Some stories end in tragedy, but some tragedies become the beginning of something bigger. Nay, Andrea Reyes is gone, but her light still shines. January 14th, 2024, Greenwood Cemetery, Bacolod City. The funeral was scheduled for 10 a.m. By 8:30, the cemetery was already full. Hundreds of people. More than came to the first funeral, the one with the empty casket in 2013. Linnae sang Bacolod organization sent representatives. Every pageant winner from the last 15 years showed up. The current title holder wore her crown and sash. Tribute to Andrea, who'd worn hers everywhere. Teachers from St. John's Institute. Friends from childhood. Neighbors who'd watched Andrea grow up. People who'd followed her on Instagram and never stopped wondering what happened to the girl with the voice. Everyone who'd mourned her 10 years ago, mourning again. Differently. Before they mourned a mystery, a disappearance, a question mark. Yet now they mourned truth, mourned a girl who died trying to protect someone, mourned justice that came too late. The casket sat at the front, closed. Polished wood, not empty this time. Andrea's remains inside. DNA confirmed. Finally home. Plot next to her mother. Elena Reyes. Died 2006. Together, finally. Gabriel stood at the grave holding Andrea's Linnae sang Bacolod sash, the one he'd kept on her bedroom wall for 10 years, red and gold, slightly faded from sunlight. He folded it carefully, placed it on the casket. When he spoke, his voice was steady. You tried to protect someone. That's who you were. That's who you'll always be. I'm sorry it took me so long to find you. I'm sorry you were alone out there for 10 years. But you're home now. You're with Mama, and I promise, you won't be forgotten. He stepped back. Sophia stood at the edge of the crowd, far enough away that no one would associate her with the family, close enough to see everything. She'd wanted to approach Gabriel before the service, wanted to say something, apologize again, try to explain. But her lawyer had advised against it. Let him grieve. Don't make this about you. So she stayed back, watched her niece get buried for the second time, watched Gabriel cry over a casket that actually held his daughter, and felt the weight of 10 years crushing her chest. March 2024, the Andrea Reyes Foundation. The building was small, 2-story walk-up in downtown Bacolod, ground floor office, second floor meeting rooms and emergency shelter, sign out front. Andrea Reyes Foundation died protecting OFWs, continuing her mission. Gabriel registered it as a nonprofit in February. It used money from a crowdfunding campaign that raised 3.2 million pesos in 3 weeks. Donations flooded in from everywhere. Pageant organizations, OFW groups, people who'd read about Andrea's case, people who'd lost someone similar, people who just wanted to help. The foundation's mission was simple: protect Filipino women working abroad, provide legal assistance for abuse victims, emergency shelter and repatriation for those trapped in dangerous situations, crisis hotline, advocacy for better OFW protections. First year goals: help 50 women. Reality: they helped 247. Every woman who called the hotline got immediate assistance. Lawyers who worked pro bono, safe houses in Gulf countries coordinated through partner organizations, emergency flights home funded by the foundation. Women trapped like Sophia had been. These women suffering like Andrea had witnessed. The foundation gave them a way out. Andrea's photograph hangs in the main office, not her pageant photo, though those exist in frames throughout the building. The one Gabriel chose was different. A candid shot from her Dubai trip, October 22, 2013, 2 days before she died. She's at the Dubai Mall, holding shopping bags, wearing jeans and a tank top, and her Linné sang bacolored crown, because of course she was. Smiling at whoever took the photo, probably Sophia, eyes bright, face full of hope, completely unaware that in 48 hours she'd be dead. Plaque below the photo: she tried to protect someone she loved. We continue her work. Gabriel visits every morning. 6:30 a.m. before the staff arrives. Unlocks the door, makes coffee, sits at his desk facing Andrea's photo. Sometimes he talks to her. We helped 6 women this week, Anak. 3 from Dubai, 2 from Saudi, 1 from Kuwait. All of them made it home safely. All because of you. Sometimes he just sits there, looks at her face, remembers her voice. His health is improving, slowly. Blood pressure under control, diabetes managed, stress reduced. Not because the pain is less, but because he has purpose again. He doesn't live for himself anymore, can't. That died with Andrea. But he lives for the work, for the women they save, for the peace of his daughter that continues through the foundation. It's not happiness, but it's something, thus Sophia's life after. She works at the foundation, unpaid, part of her probation requirements, 500 hours of community service. But she stayed after the hours were completed, still there now, still working. It's Gabriel didn't ask her to stay, didn't encourage it, just didn't stop her when she kept showing up. Her job, counseling women who've escaped abusive situations. Speaking at awareness seminars, sharing her story, she tells them everything: the courtship, the marriage, the slow isolation, the violence, the fear, the decade of being trapped. And she tells them about Andrea, about the niece who died trying to save her, about the 10 years of silence, about the guilt that never goes away. I can't undo what I did, she tells the women who sit across from her. I can't bring her back. I can't give those 10 years back to my brother. But I can make sure other women don't end up like me. Don't end up trapped. Don't end up watching someone they love die because they were too scared to act. It's not redemption, can't be, not after what she did. But it's penance. It's something. She and Gabriel work in the same building, pass each other in hallways, sit in the same meetings. They don't talk much, mostly communicate through staff members, through email, through the work itself. Occasionally, very occasionally, they share a memory of Andrea. She used to sing in the shower, Sophia said once, random comment during a budget meeting. Gabriel looked up. First time he'd really looked at her in weeks. Drove me crazy, he said, every morning, same 3 songs on repeat. Small smile, tiny, gone almost immediately. Then back to work. They never talk about that night, about the villa, about what Sophia did or didn't do. Some wounds don't heal, just scar over enough that you can function around them. The public impact. Andrea's case exploded internationally. You hashtag Justice for Andrea. Trended on Twitter for 2 weeks. Instagram flooded with her photos. TikTok creators made videos explaining the case. Facebook groups dedicated to her memory, news outlets everywhere, pageant winner's death solved by iCloud backup. 10 years later, technology reveals truth about missing Filipina. Dubai authorities criticized for closing case too quickly. Netflix announced a documentary. Production companies competed for rights to tell her story. Podcasts dedicated entire seasons to analyzing what happened. The Philippines demanded answers. Why wasn't Andrea's disappearance investigated thoroughly? Why did Dubai police close the case in 2 weeks? Who protected Khalid? Why wasn't Sophia questioned more carefully? Dubai authorities faced international scrutiny, pressure from human rights organizations, major pressure from the Philippine government, pressure from OFW advocacy groups. Reforms were implemented: mandatory video evidence review in all missing person cases, better investigation protocols, stricter oversight, dedicated unit for cases involving foreign workers. Too late for Andrea, but not too late for the women who came after. The questions that remain. Was justice served? Depends who you ask. Khalid is in prison. 25 years? He's alive, breathing, eating, sleeping, growing old. Andrea is dead. Forever. She was 18, will always be 18. Is that justice? Sophia is free, walking around, working, living her life. Destroyed by guilt, yes, but free. Andrea is in the ground. Is that justice? Gabriel has answers now. Knows what happened, knows who, knows why. But his daughter is still gone, still dead, and he's still buried next to her mother. Is that justice? People argue about Sophia constantly. Some say she should be in prison, that watching someone die and staying silent for 10 years makes you guilty regardless of abuse. Others say she was a victim too, trapped, terrified, that you can't judge someone's choices when you've never lived their nightmare. Both are probably right. People argue about the death penalty. Should Khalid have been executed? Does 25 years equal a life stolen? Gabriel said no, said death was too easy. Some people disagree, say execution would have been justice. Again, both are probably right. And technology. Could this have been solved sooner? If someone had checked Andrea's iCloud earlier, if the investigation had been more thorough? Probably, but it wasn't. And that's the truth. Ugly, frustrating, unfair. Justice came, used but late. Too late to save Andrea. Too late to prevent 10 years of suffering. Too late for anything except punishment and prevention. What changed? OFW organizations now train members differently. Document everything, keep evidence, enable automatic backups on phones, share passwords with trusted family members, create digital paper trails. Andrea's Law passed in the Philippines. Informal name for new regulations requiring better coordination between Philippine authorities and foreign police in missing person cases involving OFW's awareness campaigns. Embassy programs. Helpline numbers distributed to every Filipino worker leaving for the Gulf. Andrea's death didn't save her, but it saved others. Hundreds of women who now know. Document, backup, share passwords, leave evidence trails. Because sometimes the evidence that saves you isn't found until you're already dead. But maybe it saves the next person. Gabriel's final statement on the Foundation website, written 6 months after the trial, after the burial, after everything. My daughter died trying to protect someone. That's who she was. That's who she'll always be. I don't forgive what happened. I never will. Sophia lives with her choices. Khalid lives in prison. I live with absence. But Andrea's light still shines. Every woman we help, every family we reunite, every abuse victim we protect, every person who enables iCloud backup because they heard her story, every OFW who shares their password with someone back home, Every embassy that takes missing persons seriously now, she's in all of that. She's not here. But her work continues. Some stories end in tragedy, but some tragedies become the beginning of something better. Andrea Reyes is gone, but her light still shines, and as long as I'm breathing, I'll make sure it never goes out. 10 years. That's how long Gabriel waited for truth. 10 years of not knowing if his daughter was alive, dead, suffering, safe. 10 years of empty rooms and unanswered questions. 10 years of searching faces in crowds, hoping to see hers. And then he watched her die. On a video that had been there the entire time. Floating in the cloud, waiting to be found. Justice came, but it came slow. Too slow to bring Andrea back. Too slow to prevent a decade of torture. But here's what matters. That video existed because Andrea was smart. Because she documented. Because she believed evidence would protect her. She was wrong about that. Evidence didn't save her life. But it convicted her killer. It exposed the truth. It created change. It built a foundation that saved hundreds of women. It made people think twice about automatic backups and shared passwords and leaving evidence trails. If you think stories like this deserve to be told, subscribe to True Crime Story 247. If you want to know how many other cases are hiding in the cloud, waiting to be discovered, let me know in the comments. And remember, document everything. Share passwords with people you trust. Enable automatic backups. Because sometimes the evidence that saves you isn't found until it's too late to save you, but it might save someone else. Andrea would have been 28 this year. She'd probably have won Miss Universe. Probably would have been on TV, singing her mother's songs, making Elena proud. Instead, she's in a foundation that bears her name, in a reform movement that changes laws, in a story that makes people enable iCloud backup, in families that share passwords, in embassies that take missing persons seriously. She tried to protect someone she loved. Now we continue her work. Rest in peace, Andrea Reyes. You deserved better. Your father never stopped looking, and when he finally found you, he made sure the whole world knew your name. Take care of yourselves out there. Pay attention to the people you love. Sometimes the signs are there. Sometimes evidence exists. Sometimes truth is just waiting to be discovered. But sometimes, and this is the cruelest part, sometimes it's already too late.